Welcome to the newly rebranded Fortunate Events podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Bennett, and this podcast explores how our education, careers, and life experiences intersect in unexpected ways. My journey has been filled with a number of really fortunate events. Many of those seem like challenges at the time, but they ultimately led to growth and opportunities. Today, I'm excited to have the amazing Carey Donnelly join us. She's with Adria Women's Health, and Adria is a nonprofit organization that supports women facing unplanned pregnancies. Also joining us is her husband, Sean. Sean is the owner of Webgrass, a landscaping company out of Friendswood. Thank you both for joining me today.
For sure.
Thanks for having us.
We'll start with you, Carey, and if we could just go a little bit over your background and what led you to work at Adria.
So I was a volunteer at another pregnancy clinic, and I'm post-abortive, so I wanted to be able to volunteer and serve in any way that I could. So I did that for a couple of years, and I have a background in social work and in clinical counseling. At the time, I was a stay-at-home mom, but when I was dropping off our two littles, I would do some volunteer work at a local pregnancy center. And then it just kind of a whole God thing led me to take the position at Adria. It's been an awesome last 2.5 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. I remember the first time I heard of Adria, it was through church, and Adria's been around for over 30 years, I think you said, but I had never heard of them before. So I think it was a God thing too, us getting connected. We were connected through, really the first time I reached out was through my graduate program. I was in a class on digital media and society, I think is what it was. And we had to do a video on, something of like public importance to share with the public, a PSA in a way. And I knew I wanted to feature you after I heard about what y'all do. So very exciting. So you have a background in social work and counseling, I think. Did you ever envision yourself in the type of work that you're doing now?
Never. I never thought that I would be at a pregnancy center. I never thought that I would be doing what I'm doing. But it's incredible how the Lord will take skill sets that you have learned over your years of different jobs and volunteer work and schooling, and at least from my experience, I've been able to use those skills in this position that I know that God has His hand on. But no, I never thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a director one day of a pregnancy center.
Yeah.
That was not in my 10-year plan.
Yeah. Well, our plans hardly ever work out like we think they will.
Yes.
I myself was a teen mom. I know that you know this. I got pregnant with my son Branson whenever I was 18. So definitely was not expecting that. I had plans to go off to school at A&M. And then luckily for me, I did have an amazing support system. But I know that not every young mom or even mom who is just unexpectedly facing this, they don't always have that.
Yeah.
So I think Adria, it's wonderful what y'all do. I would love to, help share, and I do help support them, volunteering some as well. But I just love to share their mission and to get the word out about them.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes.
You do such great work with our social and being able to pour in and help.
Well, happy to do it. Speaking of social media, I'll let Sean talk for a second here. He's the owner of Webgrass, and I help him with social media. So we'll post some behind the scenes sometimes of your work. We'll do some fun reels about, inspiration and what your lawn or landscaping can look like. But why don't you tell us a little bit about Webgrass and how you came to work there, and start with that.
So Webgrass started as Captain's Lawn Service, which was way back in the day when I was mowing lawns and playing in a band. And pretty much that is my background in landscape. So started in high school, mowing yards, doing mulch, and then basically just figured I could do it better than the guys I was working for $6 an hour.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Which that was awesome back then.
Was it?
Yeah, $6 an hour, $6.50 if you were lucky.
You can't even buy like a hamburger for that price these days.
Yeah, it was low. So But yeah, that's it. I was doing that, and then it just became. It was more band than landscape at the time, and then it became more landscape than band.
Okay, I want to hear more about this band. Tell us about the band.
Okay. Well, I had a few. We'll go with the ones that were most recent.
Okay.
I did tour with a band, a Christian punk band.
Wow.
For 3 years. Yeah, it was awesome. I played drums.
Would I know them?
They're called Fillmore.
Okay.
They don't play anymore. But
okay.
For 3 years, I toured with them, 3.5 to 4 or so. And just got a lot of road experience pretty much at every state. It was awesome. It's really fun. And then I came back and started my own band called the Gold Sounds, and we played for maybe 6-7 years. I don't know.
Wow. I didn't realize that you had that background.
I'd have to count that up. Yeah.
I knew that you played drums because I think you had played at the church that we attended before. And I know that your brother is an amazing worship leader.
Yeah, he's great. And I've played with him too.
Okay.
So
did y'all have a band together?
Not necessarily with a name.
Okay.
He had one, but
yeah,
we just played worship gigs with him.
Well, that's so
bass
fun.
or drums or whatever I could get on.
So a very musical background.
Yeah, so I don't really think with Webgrass I'm working in my gift, but it pays the bills, and it's I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
well, I guess there could be some connection with, startups, starting up a band, starting up a business. Even though you took over an existing one, you're still, navigating the ins and outs of owning a business and being an entrepreneur. So
for sure, yeah. There's some similarities, especially when you're running it and try to promote yourself and things. It's the which is difficult when you're a band.
Yeah. Well, on Webgrass, will you tell the listeners your specialties, what your specialty services are, what you like to focus on, just to do a little promotion?
For sure, yeah. We do anything from maintenance to design and install, and we really like, design and install is something I like to do. I like to see a finished product and something that goes from, not what you want to something that you dreamed of or you really like. So we enjoy that the most. But we do maintenance, we do tree service, we do all of those things. Okay,
great. And we'll be sharing some of the social handles for both of y'all following this podcast in the links. Well, thank y'all again for coming on and giving us a little bit about your background. Back to Carey, could you hit a little bit more on Adria and the services they offer to women and families beyond just the mother?
Yeah, so we have support services for women and families and men that have children 3 years of age or younger, or moms that are expecting. And they're all free. We have case management, so that's one-on-one, and they get referrals in the community. They have lay counseling, or we have classes where we have dad classes that are facilitated by men, about being a father and fatherhood. We have breastfeeding classes. We have life coaching classes. We have a 12-week class for mothers that are expecting and the fathers of the baby that there's about 2/3 of it are medical professionals that'll come in and help them prepare for baby, doulas, postpartum nurses, nutritionists, and then we also have like our local community college and workforce solutions to help them too.
Wow.
With any kind of, a lot of great services that we provide, and that's for everyone. There's no, certain service area. Again, it's all at no cost. We also have an abortion recovery program for women that have walked through an abortion to go through the healing process for that. Which of course is really, special for me, and I'm one of the co-facilitators to that. And then we have our medical clinic, and so that's for women that are facing an unexpected pregnancy. So they and they're not really sure what they're going to do, and so we have medical professionals, nurses and nurse practitioners, and they meet them where they're at without judgment and provide compassionate care and let them have a safe space to sort through the decision. They get free pregnancy tests, and they get a free ultrasound. So
that's just so wonderful. I mean, especially with the free services, and y'all do that through your donations. Is that how you're funded?
Yes.
And that's a lot through your big annual gala. Is that where a lot of those donations come from?
Yeah. So our largest fundraiser is the gala. And the other way that we fundraise is through our annual baby bottle campaign. And so that's
Yes.
from Mother's Day to Father's Day. And that's where local churches will distribute baby bottles. And then their parishioners will come back by Father's Day weekend and they'll fill that with change or cash or checks. And so those are our two largest fundraisers. And that's what keeps our doors open and makes everything, all our services free.
That's just, I love it so much. And that's why I'm so happy that you're here with me so I can help share the word about all the amazing things that y'all are doing. I believe that y'all have something coming up, a planning meeting for anyone who wants to get involved in the gala.
Yeah, so we have a gala interest meeting on February 20th at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Dinner provided. And that's for people that are interested in party planning or organizing or, spearheading or assisting with our silent auction or live auction. There's so many different ways to get involved, but our gala is now going to be in the spring.
Okay.
So our first gala will be spring of 2026.
Okay.
Yeah, so if anyone's interested, I'd love to have them.
Well, a lot of my listeners have a background in marketing or communications or events. So hopefully we can get a couple of people on board with that.
Awesome.
Could you tell us a little bit about how you've seen lives changed? Maybe a story you could share about how, someone's life has changed by coming into the clinic.
Gosh, there's so many beautiful stories of women. I can think of one here just recently. She, young, 19, 20-year-old, and was told that she has by her cardiologist that if she ever found herself pregnant, that it would harm her. And so she absolutely could not get pregnant. And so she came in and was pregnant with twins.
Wow.
And
I'm a twin. I don't know if you know.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I knew this. I knew
Oh my
this.
gosh.
Jennifer, shout out to Jennifer. Yeah.
Fraternal or identical?
We're identical. We don't look as much alike, but we
gosh.
are twins.
I love that.
See, I
we
ask
have
questions.
twins too. Hey.
I don't know if I did know that y'all had twins. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
but
no, it's exciting. Yeah, so she came in and she's, with her mom and just they, were scared for her life and absolutely determined that they were going to terminate pregnancy. And she was counseled, again, just giving information and just having a safe place to process the confirmation of pregnancy and the ultrasound, seeing, how far along and all of that. And she chose life. And so it's been amazing. Now the doctor is saying that he doesn't foresee any issues.
wow, that's a blessing. An answered prayer.
A huge blessing. And, that the baby's, maybe a small amount of specialized care toward the end or right after birth, but that, she's got a team that's going to support her now. And so, I got to meet her at one of our events, and she's been, very forthcoming and sharing her story and letting us share her story, and to see her face and to see her mom, and so there's stories like that's every day. And I cannot sing the praises enough for our medical team and the nurses that we have at Adria that are just incredible women of God and that love our clients so well. Some of them are post-abortive themselves, but certainly all of them have a passion to serve women and to love them. So
yeah. I love it. I love it so much. Sean, I know that you're not an employee of Adria, but I'm sure that you are a volunteer, a very active volunteer.
Yeah.
Could you tell us how you support Carey with her? Y'all both are full-time and you have several children.
Yeah.
Tell us how y'all kind of manage everything and juggle it, and how you support her and vice versa.
So Carey pretty much dominates all her stuff. But with the kids, I'll support by watching them or cooking dinner or doing all those things that she can't do while she's at, doing work and things she would normally do.
Yeah.
So, and then also I think I support in just listening. I listen, if she needs to process, I listen. And I think that's the bulk of my support is doing that.
Well,
But
important.
of course, I help move things around or do things when they have events and anything I can do like that. But
I don't know if I know how y'all met. Are you comfortable sharing that story?
I'm
loves
super comfortable.
telling
I
the
am so
story.
comfortable with this.
Let's hear it.
More than comfortable. So
I reached out to him.
Okay, here she goes.
Here we go.
she reached out to me on social media.
Okay.
So she
loves telling the story. Okay.
I love this. It's a success story from social media.
Yeah.
See, it's a smart investment.
Yes, it is.
It really is. Things can happen.
Oh, I love it. But back to what you were asking him for Sean.
You're off of it, so wait. Don't go anymore.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, you can.
What I was going to say too is that taking on the clinic and all of the stuff that he's sacrificed a lot, and it puts anybody that's listening that's ever started something, whether it be a for-profit business or a nonprofit business, there's so much. And so we had littles. Our youngest was still in a crib.
Oh, wow.
And it brings pressure on families. And so we had bumps and obstacles, but the Lord has been so faithful to us to see us on the other side. And I'll never forget when I was offered the position, which is a whole God divine story that we weren't even looking for employment. And I remember getting off the phone and saying, Sean, I don't really know how I can do this, but I feel like I'm supposed to say yes. And we had like a back of an envelope. And we sat down on our breakfast table and with a pencil, we're looking at, okay, Jim is here on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Mother's Day out. Who could pick up? Okay, maybe, and John was like, okay, I can pick them up this day. Maybe we can ask your mom. And so I think from infancy, he did have a huge piece in supporting the yes. And
I love it.
And supporting the yes, because that was a big sacrifice. I was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
We're at a position where we weren't looking for a second income, and but we couldn't tell God no. And so I think that for especially women that are in leadership or that go back to the workplace, and men too, but as Christians, our value system in our home is that, that we are partners, right? And that he's to lead. And so for him to be, no matter how the ups and downs have been the last several years, that we've been, number one, God's seen us through, and number two, I will never forget where it started, because he said, no, we can make this work. And that's a big deal.
Absolutely. Right? It is a big deal. Well, I think something amazing too is when you give God your yes, he'll make it happen, and you're able to see firsthand just how things are connected, and it's just beautiful to see his hand on the work that you're doing. I've been in situations, especially recently, where I didn't know how I would make it through, this certain circumstance. And the most recent one was my son, Branson. He's 18 now. He was having a lot of trouble in school, and I've told you a little bit about this, but he had so much trouble during school. He started high school at the height of COVID, like right when it had started. And so he started high school online, and was on and off online versus in person. He failed like 3 semesters back to back, although he's brilliant. He's such a smart kid. He just couldn't function or learn in that environment. And I'm there with him for some of it. And I'm driving myself crazy, like, just sit down and do the work. But he has ADD, and he just learns differently, And so I knew when he was younger that he would probably need to go to a specialized school. He was in private school in elementary. And then middle school, he was in a special program for gifted and talented students. And so those programs and school settings helped him succeed. But then high school was just, they're kind of on their own, at that point, and expected to be able to perform and do certain things that he just was not able to do at that point. And so I had to go back to the drawing board, and, we tried another online school program through Texas Tech University, and I think it was a good program, just not the right one for him. And ultimately I found Fusion Academy in Houston. It's inside of the Galleria, like literally inside the mall, wow. In the business side of it, which was a trek for us. We were driving 45 minutes one way, so I'd be on the road for hours a day. And I took a new job to be able to have flexibility. So I was kind of like changing my whole life around for the school, but I knew it's what he needed. And then, it's a very expensive school. And so I wasn't sure how I would pay for it either. They didn't have a lot of scholarships or grants and loans for private high school they're very hard to get if you don't have certain income levels. And it just felt like it was impossible, but God honestly made a way. He got him into the school. He made a way to pay the school. I still don't know how that happened, but
So awesome.
I did move back home with my parents for a year and a half to also help pay for the school and all these things. He's graduating now in 3 weeks, and
Praise
he knows what he wants to do. He wants to work for a couple years while doing online school. I hope that goes well this time, but he's older now. I have more confidence. And then he wants to transfer to A&M for engineering. So he has a plan. He is thriving. God made a way for for us to pay the school, but it just seemed impossible. And then it turned out to be this wonderful thing for us. And his whole attitude has changed. I mean, he's excited about life. He has friends, he's just a different person now. And it was, a lot of people didn't understand all the sacrifices or why I was driving 2 or 3 hours a day. And I'm like, you don't get it. I'll do anything for this kid.
Yeah.
The one that I wasn't expecting, but he's my greatest blessing. So the premise of the podcast is to talk about, fortunate events or things that might have started as a struggle and turned into a strength or, a victory. So I'd like to ask both of you if you have a story or, a couple minutes on something that started as a challenge and became a fortunate event.
Well, I don't know. That's in depth.
I know. We can keep it high level if you have something to share.
I'm thinking, I have small things that were like unfortunate that turned out to be good. Like
we like to hear those.
So fairly recently, I tore my MCL.
Oh no!
And I couldn't get out in the field and do some of the work with the guys and things that I normally did. But it actually turned out to be a blessing because through that, it forced me to delegate more and to not do any of that, which has really helped. Not only just it's more relaxing, but it's also I can do other things that need to be done and focus on the business side of it. So that's a very small example of that.
But it could lead to very big results too.
Exactly.
If you're able to.
Could lead to more growth. Exactly,
yeah, absolutely. On the topic of your business, before you get to your fortunate event, Carey, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned as a business owner for others who are wanting to start a band or a lawn care company?
Oh, those are totally different.
Are there anything that crosses, high level, like
a little bit,
what you would do to get started or to keep momentum for starting something new?
Oh man, to keep momentum, that's tough. I think one of the biggest things is you need to be patient in either one. Like a lot of people are like, no, just do, do all this. But I think there is a fine line there that you walk. And I think being patient, when you act in haste, there's so much waste. There really
I like
is.
that. I'm going to use that as
You
act in haste, there's so much waste.
There really is.
I like it.
Yes. And you also, there's upsides to acting super quick, but at the same time, I think, and there's also downsides to being way too patient.
Or too slow.
But there's a fine line there. And I think that's helped, especially, running a business, getting angry at times or things that happen that you're wanting to just make a call that's maybe not what you should do, and you gotta think about it for a little bit.
Those are good. I think those are good tips, and I'm going to use that tagline for this episode. Thank you for that. I always like to think of what I might call the episode, but then every interview there's always a one-liner that I'm like, I'm taking that.
There you go.
Thank you. All credits to Sean.
All right.
Carey, what about you? An event that started as a challenge but turned into something really fortunate.
I think rejection. The thing that's coming to my mind is rejection. I think there's times where I have felt rejected by a group or by a situation or misunderstood, and I feel like the Lord has used that a lot for things to die in me that needed to, and for it to keep me fearing Him and not man. And I look back at times where I really wanted to be accepted. And whether it's because it wasn't where I was supposed to be, and it was God's protection, or it was inauthentic, right? And so I wasn't being able. I would be selling out of myself, and so I feel like the times where I have experienced rejection in relationships or in groups or in experiences, I think that it's been a fortunate event, because now I've because of the Lord and because of my relationship with Him, and only because of that walk, I think there's qualities that He's birthed in me that I don't think I'd be able to do if I still carried that idol of wanting that acceptance from people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely struggle with that too. I am a pretty sensitive person, and so I try, not to let things get to me, but I don't know, I'm emotional, I'm loving, and I feel like I try to treat everyone with love and kindness. And when someone doesn't treat me that same way back, it's personal. And, even though you don't always know what that person's going through or whatever the case may be, but it's hard. Rejection is definitely something that I struggle with, and I'm sure most people do. But I love how you turned that into, something fortunate, or you came out of it on the other side in a positive way.
Work in progress. Yeah, for sure.
Aren't we all? Well, to close us out, let's see. Are there any upcoming projects or initiatives that we haven't touched on that you'd like to share?
The gala committee meeting, touring. Anyone that's listening that is interested in learning more about Adria, we have a monthly tour.
Okay.
The third Thursday of every month from 9 to 10 a.m. And they can come and look and get to know us and hear about us. It's an hour long, and just visit our website. If you feel like the Lord or yourself, you're saying, oh gosh, I really want to know more about us, we have a website you can check out, and please spread the word for people for classes. We have wonderful facilitators, nurses and teachers and financial advisors and doulas and nutritionists, wonderful classes that are right next door, in people's backyard. And so I'd love for people to know about us.
Yeah. And not only are the classes free, but is it with every class or certain classes, parents who complete the courses will take home a baby item? Is that right?
Yes. So every class or case management that they participate in, they have a certain amount of baby material that they can go into our boutique. And it is beautiful. If you ever come to our tour, you can see it. It looks like, a Janie and Jack. And they're able to get diapers and clothes and large baby items. There's maternity clothes, all sorts of stuff.
It's just such a God thing that you're doing. So thank you for your service and for doing what you do. To close us out, Sean, anything exciting coming up with Webgrass? Do you want to start touting the Christmas arches now?
That's good. Yeah. Christmas arches. Yeah. We could talk about
We're
that.
only in January, almost February, but something that Sean does with Webgrass, in addition to, residential landscaping and lawn maintenance, as well as commercial landscaping and lawn maintenance, are these Christmas arches, the Christmas light arches. So, I don't know the best place to describe it. I know where's an area that someone can go to, or that they might have seen them and know.
So in Friendswood, there is the forest. There's a whole section in the timbers. There's 40 or 50 of them. There's more than that now, but in that neighborhood, and they're all just a couple hundred feet apart, and they just look beautiful. It's like running through a tunnel.
That's right, a lighted tunnel.
Yes.
And it's like a winter wonderland, a Christmas magical time. So y'all start installing those, or you don't start installing, but you start taking new clients. Now, but
right now, any time of the year we can take orders.
Okay.
We just need to have them so we can buy the material and get it built.
And then the benefit of going with your company is that y'all will store them as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We'll install it, put the anchors in the ground, and then we take it down, we store it, and put it back up the next year. It's maintenance free, basically. We do everything.
That makes it easy.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening, if you're on an HOA board, or if you know a neighborhood or a community that needs light arches during the winter, please keep Sean in mind for that.
Absolutely.
So, okay. Well, thank y'all so much. It's been such a pleasure to have you both and hear more about your story and how y'all met on social media. I love it. So, next time we'll have we're going to have a guest, probably every 2 weeks. My goal for this podcast is to have about 25 to 30 by the end of the year. So it's part of my final graduate school project. And y'all are my first guests on this new rebranded podcast series.
Awesome.
So thanks for joining me.
Awesome.
For those listening, stay tuned. We'll have another exciting guest next time. Thanks. Bye.